In 1957, the city of San Diego opened one of the country's great new public courses, Torrey Pines. Sitting atop rocky headlands overlooking the Pacific Ocean and the tumbling canyons of Torrey Pines State Reserve, this scenic slice of California coast suggests something rare and exquisite. But Torrey Pines is pure municipal golf, with a stark utilitarian clubhouse that stands in surprising juxtaposition to the grandeur of the setting. The lovable rough around the edges William F. Bell design was good enough to host a PGA Tour event since 1968. But the US Open is another matter, and in preparation for the 2008 event, architect Rees Jones remodeled the South Course into a stalwart 6,700-yard championship arena with elevated greens, deep-set bunkers, and thick swords of rough that can instantly disappear errant drives. Now, only the strongest survive tournaments played here, but for the price of the green fee, anyone can walk up and take their best shot. This is every hole at Torrey Pines South. Over 75,000 people a year begin their voyage across the South Course the same way, with a daunting uphill tee shot to a narrow fairway. Drive it in the rough or in one of the bunkers, and it might take 2 shots to reach the crest of the hill. The green is presented against the horizon, with more deep bunkers waiting on the right and left. It's a tough way to start, but even if you struggle here, the day's not done. Tiger Woods double bogeyed number 1 3 of the first 4 days in the 2008 US Open. He still won. Though the second hole is the shortest par 4 on the course, it doesn't lessen the need to find the fairway, as the landing area is trapped on both sides. If it's not already apparent, the South Course has one essential mandate: keep the ball on line. Here, the through bunker on the left is angled slightly to gently redirect play toward a sloping pedestal green, with large bunkers banked into each side of its base. Get comfortable with this arrangement. The left-right bunkering configuration occurs on 14 of the course's 18 holes. When Rees Jones came to Torrey Pines to remodel the course in 2001, the third green was set back from the canyon edge and to the right of where it currently sits. Jones shifted it out farther onto a sliver of land, which gives the impression that it's floating against the distant cliffs. Shooting at hole locations on the upper left-hand side of the green calls for pinpoint precision, but when the flag is front right, a helping bowl can lead to short birdie putts. The fourth is perhaps Torrey Pines' most scenic hole, running flush along the Pacific Bluffs. But unlike Pebble Beach or Bandon Dunes, where the land forms a sharp precipice over the beach, the earth here is beveled and limits how close the hole can get to the edge. In 2001, Jones moved the green to the left, and to prepare for the 2021 US Open, he widened the fairway significantly and reoriented the green's fronting bunker. Though the design has changed several times, there remains one constant. The fourth is a brute. The Torrey Pines courses were built on an Army anti-aircraft artillery training camp used during World War II. Holes 1 through 6 fan across the old camp's rifle range, which is appropriate since nothing but straight shooting will suffice at the South Course. The fifth is a mirror image of the second hole, 1 step toward the water and 65 yards longer. Drives must pass through gateway bunkers for a look at the deep, narrow green that slides back to front and left to right, sitting above a pair of large, gnashing bunkers. The first par 5 at Torrey Pines, bending gently around a ravine, plays as a long par 4 during US Opens. The string of bunkers on the left were added in 2001 and modified again in 2019, and serve as progressive aiming points for good players. The sixth typifies how the South Course is one that, as Jones says, fits the player's eye, because they can envision shaping appropriate shots off clear targets. Once that's achieved here, it's a long straight blast into a green that cascades forward in waves from high to low. The South Course tells players they need to paint between the lines, but strategy is crucial at the par 4 7th. Drives at this dogleg need to favor the outside corner, banked like a speedway turn, to open up an angle to the diagonal altar-like green set on a gorgeous spit of land above the canyon. The greenside bunker has a way of nudging approach shots too far left, where they bound away into a newly expanded chipping hollow. From there, even professionals save par only half the time. Architects often use par 3 holes as connectors, like bridges to get from one place to another. The Atoll walks the routing back from the overlook of the 7th green to the inland section of the course. The wide putting surface has an elevated rear tier and a lower front level, but players can't see that. This is one of the only greens that's not visible to the shot being played, and only the flagstick is seen poking up from behind the large fronting bunker. Though it hasn't been lengthened, the par 5 9th has been toughened. Jones pulled the fairway bunkers in to tighten the landing area on this long, straight hole, making it one of the most demanding drives on the South Course. Farther down, he repositioned another one, dragging it into the fairway where good second shots want to be. It's the only cross bunker at Torrey Pines, and it invites the prospect of one of the most dreaded scenarios for the bogey golfer, the 60-yard sand shot. Small design tweaks can often have large strategic impact. Most of the fairway bunkers on the South Course are positioned like matching kidneys, necessitating a shot up the spine. But at the 10th, the bunkers are now staggered to give the hole more of an S shape. Drives need to be placed either to the right of the first bunker or curled past it into position left of the second. The decision about which option to choose could vary day to day depending on hole location. The South Course motif of large visible greens pitched back to front and flanked by low bunkers continues at the par 3 11th. The concept here and at many Rees Jones courses is greens within greens, meaning there are several flat sections on each putting surface separated by strong transitions. Hit the correct quadrant and the putt is makeable. Miss, and some riddle of contour will need to be solved. When William Bell originally designed the South Course, he found a site that was both inspirational and limiting. As gorgeous as the views were, there was only so much land atop the mesa he could use, with just enough space to route 18 holes. The bluff and canyon nature of the landscape resulted in the course being shaped like a gnarled claw, with curled fingers extending west out over the ravines, with some just wide enough to fit one hole out and one hole back. The par 4 12th pairs with a 13th to form the southern edge of the course, the claw's thumb. Listed at over 500 yards and playing slightly uphill to a breezy point, it's the longest par 4 on the course. It's also the hardest. Unrelenting is an apt description. It routinely plays almost a half stroke over par for the professionals, and in the 2008 US Open, only 25% of the players hit the green in regulation. The tournament tee at the monstrous par 5 13th is about 120 yards back and to the left of the normal men's tee. Walk back and you'll get a sense of how powerfully modern professionals drive the ball. The landing zone is now framed with 2 carry bunkers short left, and the right side bunkers have also been pulled in. The worst place to be might be in the deep fairway trench starting about 150 yards out, leaving a blind third shot straight up the hill. Better to lay back and hit a longer club in. At least from there you'll be able to see the left and right lobes of the green and the sunken gully running down the center. Unlike the 4th hole, the 14th creeps right up against the canyon on the left, though the rough and 2 fairway bunkers on that side actually save drives from bounding down into the bush. Golfers not proficient at hitting moonshot irons should hew close to that side for a line that allows them to bounce the ball onto the putting surface. This is another green complex that used to sit well to the right before Jones swung it back and left next to the escarpment. At this point in the round, it might come as a pleasant shock to meet a hole without a single fairway bunker. But don't relax, the Kikuyu rough at Torrey Pines, overseeded half the year with rye, can be even more punishing than being in sand. Wayward tee shots at the 15th can also be blocked out by a row of eucalyptus trees on the left, another anomaly at the South Course. The bean-shaped green is elevated like a burial mound, with serious tilt between the front and elevated back section. For a layout that plays atop high ramparts, there are very few cross-canyon shots at Torrey Pines. An alternate tee to the left of the main tee complex at the par 3 16th does, however, create a challenging angle over the ravine and 2 bunkers to a green set out on another promontory. Steep back-to-front contours that pinch together at the center of the putting surface mean you must keep the ball below the hole. A new championship tee at the 17th sits offset from the old one and hangs above the drop-off, introducing an oblique angle on the drive that must flirt with the edge of the gully. The danger of the tee shot was enhanced when several Torrey pine trees, a rare and protected species that stood along the canyon's edge, perished, allowing the architects to slide the hole farther left than they were previously able to. The second shot is semi-blind and elevated, and the green falls hard right to left. The long straight par 5 18th is a simple hole that asks a simple tin cup-like question. Can you hit your second or third shot over the pond that lies in front of the green? The 18th will be forever remembered for the rapturous birdie putt Tiger Woods made on the 72nd hole en route to winning the 08 Open, but it was Australian player Bruce Devlin who inspired the name of the hole's most distinguishing feature when he made a 10 here to lose the 1975 Andy Williams San Diego Open, including taking 6 strokes from the pond that was hence christened Devlin's Billabong. Torrey Pines South is California dreaming, tough as nails, but also as beautiful a place for golf as there could be. The South was made for the people. Municipal golf with a PGA Tour pedigree and major championship toughness, it's one of the rare venues where you can measure your game on a U.S. Open course every day of the year.